And we can get started. Good morning, everybody. All right. So, first, a little hello from Listadum. Normally, Neha will be there, but our child is sick, so there's no daycare today. And it's going to be only me. And today we are going to talk about a simple question, which is, should I run ads for my Etsy shop? And what we are going to see is that it's not that simple a question, but the answer is often, yes, I should. I have like a little presentation, a lot of things, a lot of information coming. But if you have any question, don't hesitate to drop that in the chat and I can stop and answer them. And we'll see where that goes. There is also, at the end, I will keep a lot of time to answer questions that may be related to anything else on Listadum. All right. All right. So, first thing first, like an important thing to, like two important things to note about running ads. The first one is that ads will never fix a listing that doesn't sell. This is not what ads are for. Ads are here to amplify what's already there, what's already working. So if something is not working and you are not getting sales, and like having ads is not going to solve this problem. You are not going to magically start doing having sales just because you turn on a big budget on ads. You are certainly going to make more sales, but not necessarily a lot and consistent sales thanks to that. I think the analogy that we use for ads is pouring gas on a fire. So let's say that you have something going. You have a shop that is already making sales. Then a strategy is to enable ads and pour gas on the fire, and it can help you have a bigger fire. This is this is the pretty common way to do that. This is not the only strategy. We are going to see others, but usually this is when ads work best, is when you have something going already. If you have something going already, then you can use ads to make this thing bigger. A second common strategy is to use ads to learn. So it kind of goes against what I just said, that you will not, that you should not use ads if you don't already have something. Sometimes you want to turn on ads and spend a little to see. So it's pay to see. In this case, you can turn in and start spending a little bit of money on ads, and you are going to get data. And data can be very useful to understand if there is demand and if you can steer it your way. So with ads, Etsy gives you like immediate data. They give you the search terms that are being searched. They give you some information around clicks and conversion. So you can look at your dashboard and start learning. Well, for instance, maybe this listing, it's getting a lot of views and clicks, but then it's not converting into that many sales. Maybe that means that your conversion rate is not good enough and you should improve it. Maybe this listing, it's converting really well once it's being shown, but it's just not shown enough. So maybe you need to rework your SEO to make sure that Etsy understands what your product is and shows it in front of more people. So yeah, for just $1, $2 a day, you can learn in a few days what will take you weeks or months trying to get everything organically. A third strategy is when you want to buy your way in. So there are some niche market that are pay to play. Like if page one of search is paid to play, you cannot expect to rank for free when you are just getting started. it's just like going to be really, really, really hard. Your product needs to be really outstanding if you are doing relatively the same thing as the others. And this page one is pay to play, you need to pay to play. So if every competitor is bidding, your listing will never enter the auction, and so you will just not show up. Okay, little break because I see that there is a question here. I wonder if Etsy is like social platform in that if you run ads and then stop, does it hurt your reach and distribution? Okay, we'll talk about this very question towards the end. So I'll get back to it. All right, so I just talked about three of the main strategies. The first one being to use the ads to scale, which is kind of like the best case scenario. The second one is to use the ads to learn. And the second one, which is more, and the third one, which is more to buy your way in a market that is kind of already paid to play. So the thing that we have to remember is that it's all about momentum. In pretty much all this presentation, we show this kind of like Etsy search virtual cycle where it usually starts with Etsy showing your listing in search, and then you need to convert these appearances into a click. If you convert this click into like either the product is purchased by the viewer, or which is the best case scenario, or if the person interacts with your listing, so like favorite, add to carts, and all this positive signal. But the best golden signal is sales. So like if it sells, you are going to be shown more in search. Well, the good thing is that ads can help you fast track this a little, because you are just going to send, if you're using Etsy ads, maybe you are going to like appear more in search, appear more in page one, and therefore you can like get these initial clicks that you convert into sales that will create this momentum that makes Etsy show you more in search. And so like this is partially the answer to your question, fun activities for kids. And sorry, I don't know what your name is, but if you stop ads, what happens is that obviously you will feel the difference, because you are going to appear in front of less people, less often, and more specifically, you are going to probably appear less at the top of the page. But what happens is if you were running ads and it was working, meaning that you were getting the views, the search appearances as an ad placement, and you were transforming that into a views, and you were transforming these views into sales, you have created momentum. And so even if you stop ads, this momentum is still there. Etsy knows that your listing converts and that a certain categories of people is interested in this product you are selling. So in that sense, it's okay when you stop the ads, or if you dial them down, you are still going to get reach and distribution. It does not stop it completely, because your listing, the listing quality score remains high. You have momentum. Okay, I hope that helps answer some of the question. So to summarize a little bit the ad strategies, we like for new listings, one could use ads to learn. I send news listing and I want to learn if this listing has demand and if I can fast track it by putting it on page one a little more and build this virtuous cycle. For a bestseller or something that is already getting steady sales, using ads is great to scale. So like, in fact, in this case, not using ads will be a mistake, because you really want to maximize the potential of your listings, and so using ads could be a great place to be. If you are entering a niche, you want to enter the race. This is the pay-to-play example that we are talking about. And there is also the seasonal aspect, certain listings that are more seasonal when you are entering, for instance, like Christmas time. If everybody is running ads and you are not, it's going to be really hard to rank and appear and get these sales and build this momentum. So like niche and seasonal is relatively the same thing. you are going to need to pay to play very often times. So like for instance, if you are selling ornaments on Etsy and you have like a very tiny window of opportunity in mid-October to November, I want to say, to yes, maybe very early December, that's probably already too late. You have a very tiny window of opportunity and you want to make sure you are ranking at the beginning of this window of opportunity so that your listing builds momentum and you are showing on page one and you are getting these views that transform into sales, and Etsy understands that your listing is doing great, and etc. Like it's just the virtuous cycle again. All right. So when talking about ads for your Etsy shop, there are really two worlds. There is ads on Etsy and ads off Etsy. So we are going to talk about pretty much all of these, but on Etsy, there are these two types of ads. There is the Etsy ads that are search ads. Your listing is going to be shown on page one in front of people. And then there are offsite ads. You have no control over that, especially if your shop has made more than $10,000 in its lifetime, I think, or is it in a given year? Then they are just going to take your listing and advertise for it on other platforms like Google Shopping. And you don't really have a choice for this one. It's enabled by default. And if somebody buys from there, they will take a higher percentage, but it's a customers you will probably not have found on your own. And then off platform, we can talk about different platforms, the Meta with Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Google, TikTok. We're going to talk about all of them relatively individually. All right, so Etsy ads. Etsy ads are search ads. So they can help, they're great for scaling a winner. They're great for launching new products into Etsy ecosystem and learn, but they can be sometimes expensive. So here I put a list of what they are good for and what they are bad for. So if your listing already has organic sales, they can be really good for that because they are going to help you scale. If your listing already has demand, or if the product you are selling has demand, it's going to be much easier and you are not going to waste your money. Your conversion rate needs to be decent already. So if you're not converting this view into sales, you're just going to waste a lot of money. You have a mid to high price point. This is kind of true for all ads platform, but if you don't have high enough price points, it's just going to eat into your margins a lot. And generally, if you want more search visibility inside Etsy, SEO can only take you so far, especially if you have competitors that are already have this momentum, that already have their listing quality score pretty high. Is going to be hard to compete. So having more search visibility, you will want ads in these cases. Etsy ads are bad if you are not getting any sales organically. If you are not getting any sales organically, there is probably a reason for that. And this reason might be that your listing is not good enough at converting the view into a sale. So if your conversion rate is low, say under 1%, and there are exceptions to this, of course, but like if your conversion rate is very low, you are going to pour gas on the fire, but pour gas on the fire of your own money pie. If you are selling cheap items, it's really hard to stay profitable in this case. And also, if your keywords are mismatched to buyer intent, so like this is kind of SEO type of thing. Like in order to know where to show your listing in front of which search, Etsy needs to understand what your product is. And so your keywords, your title, your description, these are everything that Etsy use to understand what your product is and in front of which keyword to show your product. So like your SEO here matters. Like if your listings are not already in a good SEO shape, if they are not SEO optimized, you might be wasting your money by running ads on them. All right, another platform, Pinterest. Pinterest, it's a good hybrid between Google and mood boards. You know, they are very good if you are like putting like things like printables, wall art, home decor, things that are very visual, wedding, the wedding category, the planners category, like this thing works really well on Pinterest. It works extremely well for long tail evergreen keywords. So things like, I don't know, kitchen wall art or wedding sitting shot templates. It kind of works in an interesting way because people that are on Pinterest is it's kind of like a call to warm traffic. People, they browse first on Pinterest, they will find you there and they will buy later. So they browse, they pin what they like, and then when they come back, they might buy later. What's kind of interesting there though is that when they come from Pinterest to Etsy, it's kind of a warm lead already. They are much more likely to convert when they come from Pinterest because they've already filtered through a lot of other pins. What works well here is a strong like pin design and making sure that you are using important tags and keywords in the title and text of your pin, because Pinterest is also a search engine that works with tags and keywords. So like look at what's popular over there and include that into your titles and description for your pins and advertise on that. Okay. Meta ads are more for the emotional impulse buy. And one thing that's important to know about Meta is that it's all about creatives. Here on Meta, you are going to need to pay to play, need to spend a lot more than on other platforms, just because the algorithm needs to learn. It needs to learn who your product resonates with, and for that you are going to need to spend a little more. So it's a little harder to make it work if your product has a very low price point, because you don't have that much margin to spend in ads. But like you will have to experiment with a lot of different creatives, and then from these creatives, you might find some winners. So like when I say a lot of different creatives, I'm thinking like, I don't know, maybe like 5, 10, 15 different creatives, and you need to spend budget on all of them to let Facebook and Instagram learn and see if it works. There is also this phenomenon that's called like creative fatigue. So even if a creative, an ad creative is working, they after a few weeks, sometimes a few months, your creative gets less and less efficient over time, and so you need to continuously try new creatives and put your product in a different, like present it differently in order to work well. Okay, what else do I have on Meta? Nothing really. Okay, TikTok is a different, is very different on this one. TikTok is very much video ads. What works really well is when it does not look like an ad. So it works great with, like here you need to be creative. You need to make video that use and show your product without trying to sell your product. It's very good for a younger audience. It's a place where also people we are going to make like impulse buys, and so it can be a very good platform for influencer marketing. We're going to talk about that a little later, just because these influencers or like this user generated content can really help you show your product without making it look like it's an ad. So very important to hook people in the first 1 to 2 seconds of your video showing your product, and then not making it look like an ad. Play with like the trending audios. It's probably also the same thing with like Instagram is. You need to play with all this. Another platform is Google Shopping Ads. I put it there. I'm not exactly sure if people advertise there, because one thing that's important to know is that Etsy advertise for your listings on Google Shopping ads for you already. This is what you pay for when you get an offsite ad. Offsite ads is basically Google advertising your listing on a platform like Google Shopping ads. It might be elsewhere as well. And so this is why, like, if you were to run ads for your listing there, assuming they let you, they will maybe conflict with Etsy also advertising for these same listings. And touched on that a little bit about user-generated content and influencer marketing in general. It's just the notion that people trust people. And so if you can find micro-influencers, people that manage to reach 5,000 people, 50,000 people, and convert extremely well, that can be a really, really, really good way to create this momentum on your listings. So it works really well for jewelry, for gift, for kids item, for pet products, for all sorts of products. It can be cheaper than running ads on the long run, because remember, once it's created this influx at the beginning where you got like when this this user generated content is created, you are going to get an influx of views that hopefully you convert into sales. And it's going to create this momentum, and it's more likely to create the bestseller project rapidly by sending a lot of people that eventually converts into sales. And once you have this bestseller, you will appear more naturally on page one, and it's going to help your listing on the long run. This is true for all ads platforms, to be honest, but like it's even probably a bit easier to reach with user-generated content. So, all right, remember, folks, momentum. So when we show again like the Etsy search virtual cycle, sending people to your listings through an external channel. So we talked about Pinterest, we talk about Meta, we talk about TikTok, and influencer marketing. This is basically bypassing the first step. Etsy shows your listing in search and sending them directly to viewer. Well, they did not really click on the listing in search. So like they are bypassed directly and go directly to your listing. But if they make the sale and a sufficient amount of people buy your product, you are more likely to get this Etsy peak, like to be noticed by Etsy, get the Etsy peak badge, or get the bestseller badge if you make enough sales in a certain time period. And this is going to dramatically help you enter a market. So this is very good for a new listing. Enter a market, rank on page one, and then kind of like dominate that niche. So ads can be a really good way to do that. But before do you do ads? There is like they are the ultimate pre-ads question, like, does this listing deserve traffic? So the checklist you need to make in your head is something like, are your photos strong? Is there a clear demand for this product? Like if you are trying to sell a product and all the tags in Listadum are red, meaning or orange, meaning like there is not that much demand for this thing, you're probably not going to go anywhere with your ads. Does my price support ads? This one is very important. Like if you cannot factor in the price of ads into your product price and remain profitable, you should probably not run ads. You are going to lose money or work for free. And this is not what you want in general. Like you don't necessarily want Etsy to be an activity where you work really hard, long hours, creating your product, and at the end, you've not made any money. So make sure that your price can support ads and you can factor in the price of ads without eating too much of your profit margin. And then we're going to talk about conversion rate, but like we need to make sure the conversion rates are solid, because this is what makes an ad that converts well and that doesn't waste money, is that it needs to convert well. And to do that, like you need to make sure your photos are strong, and your price is adequate, and your listing is SEO optimized, etc. Speaking of conversion rate, so the conversion rate is the number of sales divided by the number of views, pretty normal one. And so the thing about conversion rate is that if visitors are not buying ads, won't help. So getting people to click on your listing in Etsy search ads or in Etsy search in general, but not transforming that into a sale is actually very damaging for your listing quality score. And so Etsy will think, this listing is not worth recommending, and they are just not going to do that. And if you do it with ads, they are going to do that, but it's not going to be in any interesting ad placement. So the rule of thumb for conversion rates on Etsy, below 1%, try to fix your listing, not necessarily your ads. You have like a weak conversion rate, I would say. This doesn't mean that you don't make sales, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be hard to scale profitably. In some niches, having a 0.5% conversion rate is great, but in most niches, having something above 2% is good. So 1 to 2% is decent. Probably ads can work, and you can maybe make it work profitably. 2 to 5%, great. So like if you have listings that have 2 to 5% conversion rates already, this is a great opportunity to push this thing with ads and get a lot of sales, hopefully through that medium. Another thing to look at is your average order value. So the average order value, that's total revenue you made from your shop divided by the number of order. And it tells you how much of what you that's not that is not what average order value. The average order value is simply how much people are spending per order. So this sentence is wrong. Why does it matter? Well, it matters because some categories are like, it's much easier to run ads, and like ads works better when the ad platforms have a little more budget to try and understand who is your customer, who are your best buyers. They manage to profile better and learn better who is going to be your audience if there is budget. The problem is if you sell a product that is, say, under $10, there is not enough budget. You are going to you are not going to enable a big enough budget for these platforms to learn, and therefore you are not going to succeed and scale things very well for this product. If your product is between $10 and $20, we start entering in a place where some places like Etsy ads might become interesting, but it might still be a little hard for places like Meta and TikTok, which needs bigger budget again to learn. They have like millions, if not billions of users they can show your ads to. But the problem is like you should let them do the targeting very often, and it will take them a lot of trial and error to figure out who your ads resonate with. Plus, like I said earlier, you need a lot of different creatives in order to do that. So your budget is going to be split with different creatives. So you need a little bit more budget for that. If your products are selling for, like if your orders are anywhere between 30 to 70, it's definitely going to be possible on most platforms to run good ads. But obviously, the higher the better. So like, I don't know, if your average order value is above $100, ads are going to become a lot easier to run on all platforms. Just a little parenthesis showing you that most of this information we talk about, you can see them in the chatting tab on Listadum. So if you are using Listadum, you can go to your chatting and see the insights that include everything that Etsy is telling us about your orders and your products. For instance, you are going to see your average order value. So this is a printable shop here, and the average order value being only $5, like I said, it's going to be really hard to run any sorts of ads outside of Etsy. Etsy, you can do it with smaller budget, but it might not be the most profitable business. And then we are going to talk about all the things like the tacos, the ROAS, the profit margin. But like you can find all this information in the chatting tab. One thing that's really cool about chatting tab, if you are selling digital product, is that you don't have COGS to enter, the cost of goods sold. And shipping, the real shipping things doesn't really exist for digital products. So like the chatting tab works kind of magically for digital product shops. If you are selling physical products, you will have to go in there and enter your COGS as well as your real true shipping costs. And after entering that for every single of your sales, of your orders, you will have a much clearer understanding of your profit margin, and how your ads are entering that mix. And are they profitable? Should you continue with ads or not? All right. So the next and first metric, like no, the next metric we are going to talk about is TACOS, and TACOS stands for total advertising cost of sales. It shows whether ads are boosting your entire shop or not. It kind of helps you answer a question like, how much should I be spending on ads? Well, in e-commerce, it's considered pretty normal to have something anywhere between 5 and 20% of your revenue being attributed to ads. So if your tacos is anywhere between 5 and 20%, it's normal. 10% being probably like 10 to 15% being great. 5, you can probably spend a little more. 20, you should probably be careful and not spend too much more. Otherwise, it simply just eats in the margin. So the example of the tacos is like if your revenue is $1,000 and your ad spend is $100, then your taco is 10%. The tacos, what's interesting is that it's changing over time. And so if your tacos falls, that means that your ads are helping with organic sales. And you touch a little again on the question that you were asking earlier, like your ads, they don't just bring you paid traffic, they also help you with organic sales. Just because it builds the listing quality score and that Etsy attributes to every listing. And so if the ads are efficient, they also bring you more organic sales as well. And that makes your tacos fall. If you see the tacos number rise, that means that your ads are eating into your margin. And so be careful how much you want to spend in ads, because at some point you start working for free or less, and it's going to really eat into your margins and how much money you take home at the end. So yeah, Listadum gives you this number here, and you don't need to enter your COGS or shipping fees for that. You just use your net sales as well as your ad budget that is entered and provided by Etsy. Other metric, the ROAS and break-even ROAS. So the ROAS is usually, so the formula is the revenue from ads divided by your ad spend multiplied by 100, and it represents how much of what you spend you get back from sales. And then there's this other metric that is the break-even ROAS, which is 1 divided by your gross profit margin. So again, if we show the chatting tab, if you know your profit margin, 1 divided by your profit margin is going to give you your break-even ROAS. And basically, the ads that you are running that are above your break-even ROAS are profitable. The ones that are below, you lose money. So it's very good to evaluate your ads individually and globally. Like if you sum them up, like are you making money? Are you losing money with the ROAS you are getting from a platform or an ad? So for instance, if your profit margin is 40%, then the break-even ROAS is going to be 2.5. If you run ads at less than 2.5 ROAS, you are losing money. And by losing money, what I mean here is like you are losing money compared to your baseline. It might be part of your strategy to run ads and sell less profitably to build this momentum, for instance. That's totally an acceptable strategy. But if it's your long-term strategy to lose money and work for free, you should probably not do that. Talking a little bit about budget. Budget with ads is kind of always the same thing. You start small and you learn. So you don't ever start with a big budget for ads. You start with a small budget and you make sure that it's profitable. And as it's profitable, well, if the ads are not profitable, you disable them. You change the creative and you experiment with more creative. If some of the ads are working and you have a winning creative or something, you can increase the budget for these ads as you go. You ramp up ads. You never start with a big budget. You start with a small budget and you ramp up. The budgets are going to be different platform to platform, but on Etsy, you could go as low to spending $1 or $3 or $5 a day and get results with that. Even for lower average order value numbers, simply because the audience of Etsy is already there to buy. They're already searching. They're already maybe a little more qualified, and so you are not doing as much prospective thing. You are just helping your listing reach page 1 or page 2 a little easier. On other platforms like Pinterest, maybe $5 to $10 a day is a more reasonable number. Platforms like Meta, TikTok, like if you are not spending $25 a day, it's not going to learn very fast, and it's going to take you a very long period of time for this platform to learn. I think something that's important to note is that all these platforms, Meta, TikTok, Pinterest, they don't really have like attribution. So even if you make a sale coming from this platform don't know about it. They don't know that they've made the sale. Therefore, it's really hard for them to kind of like optimize and do that. So they are very good at doing like prospective ads and type of ads that are going to get you clicks, but they don't know that they're actually converting into a sale, and they don't know necessarily how to find more of these people who buy and not just see. Summarize again the ad strategies we talked about at the beginning. So for new listing, great to learn or like to penetrate the market. If you have a bestseller, great to scale. And if your listing is in a niche or a seasonal product, it's sometimes important to pay to play. Otherwise, you are not even going to compete with your competitors. Maybe also a little one around which ad platform is for you. And so it's like kind of a simple decision tree. We all love simple decision tools. So if your average order value is under $10, Etsy ads only. Don't really try anything else. Meta TikTok will never be profitable for this type of product. I say never say never, but like very unlikely to be profitable. If you sell things like printables or very visual things that people love to pin, that will be a good match on Pinterest, then definitely try Pinterest ads on top of Etsy ads. If your product is very emotional and you can really represent that into a video and into something that does not look like an ad, then Meta and TikTok can be very good platforms. So for instance, yeah, like visual is good. If you scale beyond Etsy, we talked a little bit about Google Shopping earlier. Like it's probably a better place to advertise if you have your own website rather than Etsy. If you are testing keywords and your listings, then like Etsy is a good place for that. They give you a lot of data, and you will have like the entire funnel for this keyword. So Etsy is a good place for that. And if you want reach and virality, well, definitely TikTok and Meta. But like, in order to have like these viral videos on this platform, like it's not necessarily that easy. So don't hesitate to have the recourse of influencer marketing. Try to find some micro influencers to come and 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 help you promote this product of yours, and hopefully it can help. All right, this is kind of the end of my little presentation here. That was not little by any measure, 40 minutes. I hope, like, this was a lot of information, I know. I hope this was useful. And yeah, I'd love to hear your, like, if you have any questions, if you want to just like participate and ask anything else. It can be about ads, it can be about Listadum in general. I'd be very, very, very happy to talk about anything at this moment. Yeah, the chatting section can be very useful. Just fun activities for kids. Are you selling printables? Or sorry, if you can give me your first name, I will call you by your first name instead of of.
Is it okay if I unmute?
Yes, absolutely. We can have a conversation.
Okay.
Just know that you are recorded, but if you don't want to be part of this, we can cut at the end.
Okay. My name's Sam, but
Hi, Sam.
hi. I'm an unrelated question. I'm new to Listadum and I've only watched one of your webinars. So I just wanted to see if I'm understanding correctly. It's about tags. And you said, you don't want to use a lot, you don't want to repeat the same tags over and over. And like Etsy uses the tags like together to like understand the full picture of your product. In that sense, I have been like, I do sell printables and they're for kids. So I will just say like pre-K kindergarten in one tag, and other things that might not make sense. Like I'm trying to think of something else. I don't know, maybe that's good enough. Is that okay to do that?
Absolutely. So the important is that your like Etsy understand what your product is about. So if your product, so when you are thinking about your keywords, you are thinking about two different things. You are thinking about your primary keywords, which is like what best describe what my product is. So if your product is a printable for kids, then probably printable for kids is kind of like your main keywords. And this keyword is what helps you determine if there is demand for this product. The other 11 or 12 tags that you are going to use, they are just here to inform Etsy what else your product is about. And so here you want to answer what your product is, what it is made of, who it is for, when to use it, where to use it. So here you want to use as many words as possible. If you use one word in one word, tags are not search terms. This is something important to understand here. Like, if you put pre-K and kindergarten in the same tag, it's okay because people are not going to type pre-K kindergarten in search, but Etsy will know that your product matches searches for people that are searching something like pre-K or people that are searching kindergarten, and they will know automatically because you've put these words. You've said to the algorithm, my product is relevant for pre-K and kindergarten, even if they are in the same word. And then you use your 13 tags to have as many different words as possible that are relevant to your product. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Okay, that's
But I
perfect.
think like the short answer is like, yes, you're doing this right. Like just as long as you don't repeat pre-K and kindergarten 6 times in your tags, you're not wasting space. You just need more various thing. And the fact that they are in the same tag is not a problem because tags are not search terms. Search terms, Etsy will figure it out how to match what people search to your product based on what you have said your product is.
Perfect. Okay, it seems to be is working, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't like misunderstand you the first time I heard it. But yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And yes, so interestingly for you, if you are selling a digital product, when you open your chatting tab, it's going to look like this. You are not going to have um, any signs like so when you are selling a physical product, each of your orders have more cost associated to them, like the cost of goods sold and the shipping fees that you will have to input kind of manually, or we have like tools to automate that. And so by default, the chatting will be more incomplete. But when you are selling printables and digital product, it's so great because you arrive in chatting and it's showing the full picture of your profit immediately. So that can be very nice. Are you say that you are new to Listadum, but are you new to Etsy?
Yes, I was on Etsy like 15 years ago, and then I stopped, and then I started back up a couple months ago.
I see. And so how is this restarting going?
It's going really well. I have a blog where I can like get traffic, and I have my own Shopify store. So adding Etsy is like really nice to have a whole different section of people seeing my stuff.
This is the perfect way to look at it. Etsy as a sales channel and not as the only place you are going to sell. If you already have a blog, if you already have your website, you have like a lot of other things that are working for you. You hopefully have maybe your own mailing list. You have SEO working for you on other platforms like Google, and so it's just a good virtuous cycle when you have all this. Perfect. Well, don't hesitate if you have questions like this. I'm glad you are coming to the office hour and ask your question, but like you can always reach out and clear this out. I don't want you to feel like confused. Things around tags are always confusing. I think we like to give a lot of information so that people can make their decision, but also it's just very confusing and totally understandable.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if Ilya is still here and listening, but let me know if you have any question regarding ads or regarding Listadum. So Ilya is selling more physical product for sure. So like it's very different beasts. But I guess since you have the logo on your Google photo, I'm finding your shop on Etsy. It looks like you are doing really well. All right. Well, if there are no more questions, I'm going to just end it here. At least end the recording. And yes, can I explain Etsy ad strategies? I mean, okay. Do you have anything more specific in mind? Or like compared to like, okay, it's true that I was talking about ads in general and not necessarily about Etsy ad strategies. So the one Etsy ad strategy obviously is to make sure you disable ads and keywords that are not profitable, right? So okay, let me Etsy camp. Oh, the Etsy campaign strategy. Okay. All right. Let me show maybe this one shop. It's not the best shop, but it's running ads not super profitably, and this way we can go in there and have a look to some of the things more in details. Okay, so there are like different ad strategy that you can configure. Where is it that they put it? Campaign. Okay, so the different ad strategy that they just added is if you are spending more than $25 a day, you can explore the different strategies on Etsy and help them decide um, how to optimize your ads. So if you are spending less than $25 a day on Etsy, it's going to default to efficient spending, meaning that they are simply going to be like very balanced in the way they are spending. They want to reach as many people as possible, but they want these people to convert. So once you spend more than $25, I thought they were going to show me the option, but they don't. Do they show you if you spend the $25? Just like I was saying about like other platforms like Facebook, Google, etc. Like they need more budget in order to understand who your audience is, and they need more budget for learning. So the Etsy ad strategy. Let me see if I can find the free names. Are these the recent ones? So basically, there are like three different types. There is the aggressive, show me to as many people as possible. I don't care about getting sales. I trust my creatives are going to get clicks. There is the more balanced, which is kind of the default and the one you get when you are spending less than $25. So that's efficient spending. And there is the more conservative one. Only show my product in search when you know I'm going to make the sale. So what happens with these different strategies is that Etsy is going to spend the budget based on that. If you say that you want to reach as many people as possible, Etsy is going to spend your budget. It's going to spend your $25 or above every day, and is going to put you in front of as many people as possible. Just these people might not be as related. Like they will just show it in front of more people that might not be as connected and looking for your product. And so what happened with that is that your ROAS might be less good, and your click-through rate might be less good, but you are just going to reach more and more people. So when to use that? Well, you use that when you have very solid conversion rate, and you use that when your product is kind of this evergreen wide category that like people don't know exactly that they want this. So like it's a like I'm not necessarily the running it in this mode myself, but like for instance, if somebody is buying, if selling like, oh, it's probably a bad example, a t-shirt, like you know that there are so many people that are selling t-shirts, and you want as many people looking for t-shirts, not necessarily your t-shirt but a t-shirt, to see it. The way you would use the more like broad strategy. You will want to use the more like if your products are expensive and your conversion rates are lower, you will probably want to use the more conservative option. This more conservative option, sometimes Etsy is not going to spend your budget. They are not going to spend the $25 because they are only going to show your ads in front of people that are much more closely looking for what your product is and have the right intent. Um, and then the third option being efficient spending, which is kind of like the best of both worlds. I will say that 95% of the time you should probably be in efficient spending. The other two strategies, it's probably only good and useful when you are uh, like either you need really like a lot more impression and you trust that your product is going to convert on its own because your product talks to people instantly, and even if they were not looking for it uh, specifically, they will be like you will capture their interest, and they will buy anyway. In this case, you can go into the more broad matching, uh, and the more conservative thing is something you do when you you are selling something very specific to a very niche audience, and you don't want Etsy to start showing it to random people that will dilute your spend. All right. Is that what you had in mind when you were asking about Etsy campaign strategies? Okay. Another thing to talk about very briefly is around like your ads once you have them. So there are like two things that some people sometimes don't know about. The first one is to go into your product, and you will see here this thing called targeted keywords, and it's going to show you for each keyword that got like impressions. Uh, that's kind of interesting. They change the order of columns sometimes. How many views you got, how many what is the click-through rate, how many clicks did you get, etc. And so what you will see sometimes is that this listing may be shown for keywords that are not at all related to your product, and you will want to deactivate these. So for instance, in this case, there's this keyword PQ Akonen that is nothing related to this product. So we want to deactivate it so that it doesn't spend any budget spending it on people that will never be interested in your product or that are not searching for this. And the second thing you want to look at is you can make a rule of thumb based on spend and ROAS. So this is a digital product shop, very low average order value. So you want to make sure that you don't overspend. So like basically for this one, I have a rule. I will say that if the listing spend more than $1.50 or $2 and did not get a ROAS above a certain number, being 1.5 or 2, I will in this case usually 1.3 I think is the break-even ROAS on this shop. I will simply deactivate them. So you don't want to have ads that are not profitable, and so this is kind of like the pay to play, like pay to play because this niche is competitive, but also use ads to learn. And so you activate your ads on your new listings. You have a look at how many views, clicks, and revenue and ROAS you are getting, and then based on this information, you decide what to disable. So, for instance, this listing, they have all spent more than $1, but they have an okay ROAS for this period, so I will leave them. If this one had spent $1 and had 0 sales, I will just deactivate it, and it's more likely that it's going to be deactivated. On the other end, so usually sold by spend, everything above a certain threshold, if they are below your target ROAS, you deactivate them because they are not spending efficiently. And yeah. How many days you give for listing ads before deactivating? So in my case, I will not do it based on days. I will do it based on spend. You need to let Etsy spend a little to get enough views. But if they spend, and it really depends on the type of product and how much is good. Like if your average order value is $50 and you can afford to spend $10 in ads, then before getting a sales, then your spend could be higher. Your budget is probably also going to be higher. And so I will let it spend until it reaches a certain threshold. So because here I have very low average order value for this digital product, I keep a value that is relatively low, $1 or $2 maximum to make a decision. And if it has spent this much and it does not have profitable sales, I will just deactivate them. Yeah, it does. It doesn't have. Well, I mean, yeah, I see what you mean. Of course, if you are spending a lot on ads, you don't want to have ads bleeding making your money bleed. Even if they lag by a few days, they are giving you directional data that is interesting and something that is not converting at all. Like you will see something that's converting and you might not see the exact price, but it's okay to have it several days more than that is to be. It's not the problem. You don't deactivate them because they make no sales. You deactivate them because they make not enough sales. If you see what I mean. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we are past time. I really hope this was useful. We talk about a lot of things. The recording of this will end up on YouTube eventually. And yeah, don't hesitate if you have more questions to reach out either by our contact form or via the live chat support in Listadum. Whether it's a question about ads or any other question, I'd be happy to talk and answer your question. Also, both of you, I see that you are. Well, let me double check this, but if you are subscribers of the Listadum Pro plan, don't hesitate to reach out and get like a one-on-one session with me. We can talk about your shop, your goals, strategies to go from where you are to where you want to be. Yeah, don't hesitate. You probably have received an email that with a link to schedule this, and you should definitely take advantage of that if you are a subscriber. And even if you are not, just reach out. I'm happy to look at your store and see how we can help in any way. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.